Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
And I'm Aiara.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As usual, free Palestine. You know, support what you can. Donate money, repost things on Instagram and Twitter and such.
hmm
Um, so, what media have you been interacting with lately?
I got a couple of them. I've been very busy lately. So, me and the girlfriend have been playing a lot of Fighter 5 lately. She's been kicking my ass. Terrible. A lot of Mortal Kombat 11 too. I've just been really into fighting games lately. So, there've been a lot of those on my docket. So, Mortal Kombat 11, Street Fighter 5, and then I forgot which Tekken 7, I think. We haven't been playing that one together because the it doesn't work for some reason, but I have been playing it. And then um, I started a new manga. It's called Claymore, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I tried watching the anime. And the anime is not as good as the manga, but it's okay. I think if I watch it subbed instead of dubbed, it'll be a little better. And then I watched something, and I can't. Oh, Automata had its finale this week on Friday, and I watched that. And it was really, really good, and I cried a little bit, but it was really good. There was a lot of cool nods to like other games in the Drakengard series, which was really, really neat. But it was a really good finale, and for how rocky the anime started, it definitely redeemed itself and then some. Yeah,
Is it
that's all I've got.
is that
Hmm?
the end of the story overall?
Yep.
Cool. How many seasons
Yeah,
was it?
another
Was it 2 seasons?
2 seasons.
Hmm.
Yep, 24 episodes total.
Okay. I'll check it out
hmm
eventually. Now that it's finished. After I play the game.
yes.
Why Street Fighter Five?
It's free on
Okay.
PlayStation.
Because I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because if I'm being honest, Street Fighter Five, it's become a good game, but like, it started off so bad. It was such a bad game at the
Yeah,
beginning, and now it's a good game. But like Street Fighter Six is one of the
is way
best
better.
fighter games I've ever played in my life. So I was like, why are you playing Street Fighter Five when Street Fighter Six exists?
And you could definitely like see that it kind of started as a bad game with like how some of the menus and stuff handle, but for all intents and purposes it works for us. We probably will get Street Fighter 6 at some point because 5 is not cutting it for me anymore. I need more characters to play as, and I'm not buying DLC for a dead game. That's just not.
Oh yeah, because you're playing free versions, so you don't have any characters. So yeah,
Yep.
Street Fighter. Yeah, Street Fighter Six is great. So if you ever decide to get that when it's on sale one of these days, it's a good game. I need to get back into it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
If they add Sean from Street Fighter, who hasn't been in Street Fighter since Street Fighter Three, I'm gonna be
Oh
back in
wow.
immediately, and I'm going to main him. Right now, Ken is my main because Ken's the best. But
Real, real. I am a Cammy enjoyer.
most people are.
Definitely not for gay reasons though. It's for partially gay reasons, but that's besides the point. She plays good.
Look, nobody will blame you. Okay. But for me, still playing Astrolab. So good. It's so good. There's this one level called like something like fever. It's not Fahrenheit fever. It's something like that. It's like this like fire like challenge level that just has such good music. The music in this game is really good. And
Ooh,
I went and like speed ran it yesterday just to listen to the song again because it was so good.
real.
But yeah, I think I'm close to finishing it.
Nice.
Started playing some more Hades 2 because I had stopped playing it for a little bit.
Mm.
It's just a good game. Dang, I almost said a spoiler. Never mind. But because I forgot you haven't played it yet. But
Yeah, I played it. But it's on my
yeah.
docket. Once I stopped playing Balatro so much. Oh, that was another thing. Balatro got a mobile port
Mm.
and my productivity has tanked.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
hmm
Uh, but yeah, Hades 2 is great. What was I say? Oh, so there's a interaction between Hecate and Melanoe um that is like about the fact that the game is unfinished. That is,
hmm
and it's framed around like the world itself in a really fun way. That was fun. And I was like, this stuff you
Ooh.
get when you play it in early access. You get to see this stuff that's not going to be there when the full game comes out.
Right.
But yeah, game's fun. I got to Kronos' second stage and didn't die immediately like I did the first time and the second time.
Nice.
And like I'm close to beating him. I can feel it.
Nice.
Because it's not that hard to get down there anymore. But sometimes the mermaids give me, or the sirens give me some trouble sometimes. But for the most part, nobody really gives me much trouble when I'm going down.
That's good.
Space Marine, I'm close to finishing that. I think I play like one chapter like every weekend, and I think I'll play some of it later. And Red Dead Redemption 2, it's just a great game. Still playing it.
Nice.
It's good.
Nice.
So last night I decided to watch The Thing because again, my favorite reaction YouTube channel, Vine Wave, they were watching it and had two people in there who had never seen it. So I was like, you know what? I want to watch The Thing. That movie's so good. And I love that movie. It's great. I don't know if it was a good idea because I was creeped out because towards the end of the movie, as soon as that movie ended, I cut the lights on. I was like, okay, because I started hearing noises because some people just moved into the apartment upstairs above me, and they started moving in at like 11 o'clock at night, and I was like, why are you doing this? It's like right before I was about to go to sleep that they decided to start moving in. And I was like, why? But maybe that's why I'm tired. But yeah, no, that movie, it's a good movie, but body horror, man, it creeps me out every time.
For sure.
I saw Transformers 1 and I actually watched it a second time yesterday.
Oh wow.
But I'll talk more about that later. Twilight, Terminator Zero. I watched a few more episodes. It's all right. I'm gonna finish it before next episode, but like, it's cool. It's nothing super special, at least not yet. And I think I'm like 3 episodes in, and it's 8 episodes, so we'll see. I'll finish it. But I did watch all of the Twilight of the Gods, which we'll get to later.
Ooh.
Moving on to animation, I sent you a couple trailers for some new anime.
You did.
The first one is called Negative Positive Angler. The story follows Tsunehiro Sasaki, a depressed college student burdened with debt and being told that he only has 2 years left to live. That's unfortunate. After falling into the sea while on the run from debt collectors. Wow. Tsunehiro is rescued by friends Hana and Takaki and soon become hooked on fishing. It's an anime about fishing and cancer. Or just some
I'd watch it.
Undetermined terminal illness. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna watch it, but the premise was so interesting that I just had to bring it up because I saw the trailer and I was just like, "What is this? An anime about fishing?" I would have never guessed. But I did read Robot Laserbeam, which is a manga about golfing. So who knows?
Yeah,
which is really good, and I hope it gets animated one of these days. I think
also that's an insane name for a golfing manga. Like, is it that serious?
It's called like I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's the same with like how Hunter x Hunter is called Hunter x Hunter, but it's Hunter x Hunter, and like Spy Family is just Spy Family, but there's an X there.
Right.
And it's called Robot, and then there's an X and it's Laserbeam. So I assume like every other anime that does this is just called Robot Laserbeam.
Got you.
And yeah, it's good. I hope it gets animated one day. I didn't finish it either. I need to get back into it, but it's been a long time. I would have to start from the beginning, damn near.
Real.
Same with Haikyuu. I stopped in like the middle of a season, and now if I were to go back and watch it now, I wouldn't know any of the characters' names. I wouldn't know. They were in the middle of a tournament, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Oh no.
I would be super confused. Luckily, Blind Wave has reacted to it, so I think when I get back and decide to finish watching Haikyuu, I'm gonna watch their reactions up to where I left off, so that I just get a refresher.
Makes sense.
Because I don't remember anything other than the main character's name is Hinata.
That's real.
But yeah, I also sent you a trailer for an anime called Virgin Punk, which is a hell of a name.
For sure.
But according to Game Rant, Virgin Punk will introduce audiences to Ubu, a young bounty hunter navigating a futuristic dystopian world. While an official synopsis has yet to be revealed, early details suggest that the show will follow Ubu as she battles against her past, carrying strange memories from a facility she escaped. The promotional trailer hints at a complex character struggling with internal conflict while chasing unknown targets through chaotic cityscapes.
Wow.
It's animated by Studio Shaft, who worked on Madoka
Ooh.
Magica. Um,
Hmm.
and it looks good. It has a great art style, and the fight animation looks good. So
For
I
sure.
think I'll check it out. It looks like it'll be fun. Um, so it's been announced that the final arc of Demon Slayer will be split into 3 movies. Um,
Wow.
the first movie will be releasing mid 2025, the second one early 2026, and the third one late 2026. So I was partially right. This is a wild way
Mhm.
to do this. I feel like they should have done a season in a movie. Why
Yeah.
are they splitting this into 3 movies?
Make more
um,
money.
for sure, probably. But yeah, I'm gonna be watching either way. I'm sure it'll be great because I mean, like I said it before. This last arc is just straight hands, just fighting. That's all it is. Literally, the last season ended with them being transported to the area where the fights will happen. Like it's gonna pick up immediately with hands. It's just gonna be
Hands.
fighting the whole
Insane.
time, just swords clashing. That's all it's gonna be. But to my surprise, maybe we talked about it before when it was announced, but I forgot. But
Mhm.
like, I sent you a trailer for Look Back,
You
um,
did.
an animated adaptation of Chainsaw Man creators One Shot, by Studio Durian, and I don't know if this was announced that we talked about it before because it completely
I don't think
surprised
it
me.
was.
Um,
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know, the story follows fourth grader Ayumu, I think, Fujino, who regularly draws 4-panel manga for her school newspaper and is lauded as having the best artwork in her class. One day, she is asked by her teacher to turn over one of her manga slots in the school newspaper to a truant student named Kiyomoto. When Kiyomoto's manga pops up alongside Fujino's, it receives high praises for its detailed artwork, making Fujino fiercely jealous. It's so good. And it's also partially based
Mhm.
off of a real life tragedy. And yeah, it's great. Hopefully they animate the other one. What was it called? Um,
Um, I
Fuji.
forgot what it was called, but I know
Yeah,
which one you're talking about. Where it's like, yeah, go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Fujimoto is the name of the creative Chainsaw Man, and yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, these one shots that they made are like very different from Chainsaw Man and really good.
Mhm.
And I'd be curious to see what Fujimoto works on after Chainsaw Man. Um,
For sure. For sure.
assuming it isn't anything as insane as Chainsaw Man or the manga he worked on before that, which I heard was
Mhm.
also ridiculous. It's so
Oh yeah,
insane,
Fire Punch is
yeah,
crazy.
that you can't read it in the app. You have to go to the website because
Oh.
it's like rated at a rating so high that you cannot like show this on the app.
Oh wow.
That's how bad it is in terms of like content. So like yeah, Fire Punch is called.
Yeah, Fire Punch is crazy.
But yeah, I'm excited for this. It comes out in a couple weeks. I got my ticket already.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go watch it. It's like I think a little bit over an hour, but yeah, I'm excited. Um,
Mhm.
so Netflix did their Geeked Week event and showed off a bunch of stuff.
Yep.
They announced that Joe uh Manganiello, I think his last name's pronounced, who played Flash Thompson. Not is his last name? Yeah, Flash Thompson in like the old Spider-Man movies by Sam Raimi. A man that looks like he very clearly looks like he's like 32 but was playing a teenager. He he's gonna be playing Crocodile in season 2 of One Piece, which is cool. And
Ooh,
they announced
nice,
the
nice,
the
nice.
casting for Robin as well. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But we're in animation section. We got a
It
trailer
counts.
for Devil May Cry, uh,
Yes.
by Adi Shankar, and Johnny Young Bosch is voicing Dante, which is an
Strange.
odd choice because he voices Nero, who is
Mm-hmm.
one of the main characters of the franchise. What? Who made this decision and why? This is weird. Apparently the dude who voices Dante is weird and might not be voicing Dante anymore. So
Ah, that makes sense.
that makes sense. But why Johnny Young instead of someone new, the person who will probably take over the role in the games? Like this is I don't know. It's a weird choice when he already voices a character in the franchise. When Nero shows up, who's gonna voice him?
Also, Johnny Young Bosch. We're
That would
going
be
back to
hilarious. It's just two Johnny Young
2007.
Bosch. That's insane.
We're going back to the 2007 era of anime where everybody was voice acted by like 3 voice actors and that was it.
It's like I always forget his name for some reason, but the dude who voices both Vegeta and Piccolo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it looks good. The animation looks great. I'm glad we're getting more of Dante being a devil hunter, because in the games, I want Devil May Cry 6. A lot of people might hate this, but I wanted to kind of take inspiration from Final Fantasy 16, which funny enough, the person who did the combat director for Devil May Cry 5 worked on Final Fantasy 16.
Oh wow.
And is why it's such of a hack and slash in comparison to other Final Fantasy games. And in that game, there's like these open zones where you go on hunts for like monsters, almost kind of like Monster Hunter in a lot of ways. And I would love something like that in Devil May Cry 6, where you get these open-ish areas to go and hunt demons as like part of the story. That would be really fun.
That would be fire.
But yeah, this comes out April 2025 next year. I'm excited. We got a trailer for another animated Witcher movie called Sirens of the Deep, which when I heard the name, I immediately knew where they were pulling from. And then they released a little clip from it. And I watched it and I was like, oh, this is just like beat for beat, like chapter from the books. So I'm excited.
Word for word, bar for bar. No, I'm kidding.
Because I remember this chapter. It was good. But yeah, this time Geralt is being played by his voice actor from the games. Doug Cockle, but Jaskier and Yennefer are actually being played by their live action counterparts. So I believe this might be tied in with the other one was as well tied in with the live action show. And Henry Cavill's out, so they brought back the original voice actor, and then someone. Well, I know who's playing. Was it Liam Hemsworth? Chris Hemsworth, brother is playing
one of the brothers.
Geralt, which will be interesting.
Ooh.
We lastly in Netflix, kinda. We have a Splinter Cell Death Watch, an animated Splinter Cell show starring Liev Schreiber as Sam Fisher, who I mostly know him as he was a character in Scream, and he played Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine, the bad one. But he also voiced Kingpin in Into the Spider-Verse.
Got you.
But Splinter Cell, for those of you who don't know, follows Sam Fisher, a Black Ops agent working for the U.S. government, for a division called the Fourth Echelon. In the first look at the upcoming series, a pair of goggles sink into the water, and flowers are placed on the coffin of a man named Douglas Shetland. The words "Beloved Father" are inscribed on a wooden casket, and Fisher narrates, "Once you get used to the shadows, you see bad people for who they really are, and they'll never see you coming for them." I'm excited for this.
That's fire.
Sam Fisher showed up in the Captain Laserhawk show, which was not what I thought it was going to be. It's called like a Blood Dragon remix. I thought it was going to be an adaptation of the DLC for Far Cry 3, which was called Blood Dragon, but it was not. Instead, it was a mishmash of a bunch of Ubisoft IPs into an animated show, and I still haven't watched it. I heard it was cool. But Sam Fisher was in that, and he for some reason didn't have legs, but he had these rockets on his stumps that he used to fight, and it was really cool. It was just one really cool fight scene. I'm not sure if Liev Schreiber voiced him in that, but he probably did. And the art style of this is reminiscent of Captain Laserhawk, so maybe it's the same animation studio, and if so, the action's going to be good.
Nice.
And Netflix is actually working with Ubisoft on a live-action Assassin's Creed project as well. And hopefully that is much better than the live-action movie with Michael Fassbender. But kind of lastly in Netflix Geek, because this was also shown at Netflix Geek, but it also just straight up came out, and that is Twilight of the Gods, the animated series created by Zack Snyder. Sigrid, an iron-willed warrior, saves Leif, a mortal king who falls in love with her. They both survive Thor's wrath of terror, which embarks them and a crew of crusaders on a merciless mission for vengeance against all odds. It's basically God of War if it originally started in Norse mythology and starred a woman. It's really good. The series captured my attention because of its art style that reminded me of the 2003 Clone Wars and Samurai Jack, both by Genndy Tartakovsky. But it kept my attention because their take on Norse myth is very interesting, and it's super fun. The art style is great. The character designs are great. Thor is a bad person. And there's this one scene where he's like playing with his son and like trying to teach his son how to be strong, and it looks like they're gonna like humanize Thor for like 5 seconds, but like they're like pushing against each other, and he's trying to get his son to like push him back and like unlock his strength. But his brother Balder comes in and like tells him some news that he doesn't like, and he's distracted, and then his son pushes him a little bit, and then he backhands him, and I'm like, oh, never mind. This moment was not to try and humanize him, it was to show us that he is irredeemably a bad person. Though there are some other moments that make it seem like maybe there's deeper to why there's reasons why he's a bad person, but he's still a bad person. But yeah, it's real good, and there's way more nudity and sex in this than I expected there to be. But I don't know. I feel like I shouldn't have expected nothing less from Zack Snyder. That like at several points they show full on dong, and at one point they show straight up, surprisingly, penetration. It's like silhouetted by like a big fire behind the characters. But I was like, wait, what's happening? This is just porn on Netflix. This feels illegal. I feel like I shouldn't be watching this. And there was a whole threesome. There's a lot of gay shit. There's some trans characters. It's great. It's a great show.
That's good. It sounds great. Insane, but great.
Yes, you should check it out. It's great. It's like within like the first 5 minutes.
Wow.
The main character and her husband immediately.
That's, you know what, good for them.
What is it like?
Good for them.
At one point, like she makes a joke about him being hung like a horse, and then they show it. I'm like, oh, okay, he is. They just showed it. It was just like, well, we gotta prove it to you. And I was like, you didn't, but you did.
You didn't have to.
You didn't have to. I didn't need to know. I could just take her word for it.
Could have gone my whole life without knowing that, actually. But, I think stuff like that really makes me think about like animators, because it's like someone had to draw that.
Yeah, I mean, you're a person who's on Twitter. I'm sure you've been to the to that side of Twitter, and a lot of those animators end up like getting actual jobs working on like big shows.
Makes sense
because of the stuff that they made on Twitter. So,
yeah.
But this show, made me hope that the upcoming God of War live action show has a prequel that's animated. Because the show, which is going to be on Amazon, I believe, is supposedly going to start from the 2018 games, where he, after the events of the first 6 games, which that's a good starting point for new people who are new to the franchise. Though, I prefer if they start from the beginning, but because they're not, I feel like this gives them the opportunity to have fun with how they tell retell the events of the first 6 games, and I feel like they could do that through animation, like The Witcher is doing, kind of, where they have the live action component, but then they have live action prequels, which is really fun.
Right.
Because what is it? I forget what the first animated movie was called, but it's that animated Witcher movie. It's better than the entirety of the Witcher show, even though I like the Witcher show. Like that animated movie is so good, but it is a prequel that takes place like over 100 years before the games or something like that. And it's real good. And I feel like they could do something similar with God of War. And honestly, I think this art style would also fit a God of War live action, not live action, but animated show. And yeah, I'm like, bring back the original cast, bring back TC Carson, the GOAT, the original Kratos, to voice Kratos in this, and like, yeah, an animated adaptation of those first 6 games would be really good. But moving on to Transformers 1, my dream came true. I've said several times on this podcast that Transformers on the big screen should return to animation. And I couldn't have been more right, because this movie was amazing. It was so good. It tells the origin of Optimus Prime and Megatron. And it's just Transformers. It's just robots. It's all on Cybertron. There are no humans, which humans are core to the story of Transformers. But sometimes you just need Transformers story without them. And this is that. Brian Tyree Henry brings the emotion and energy of Megatron, but for the longest time, the voice didn't fully fit for me. But after viewing it a second time, he has grown on me. But also, it helps that a lot of people compare his voice, the way it changes into Megatron to Kratos, his original performance by T.C. Carson. Speaking of, and watching it again, I was like, I hear it, because I heard people say that on Twitter, and then I watched it and I was like, you know what, I hear it. There is a little bit of Kratos in there, and you know what, I like that. But Chris Hemsworth, on the other hand, was just perfect from the get go. He's just great. He does the transition from Orion Pax to Optimus Prime across the film perfectly. He's really good.
That's good.
Bumblebee's played by Keegan-Michael Key, who is occasionally funny but mostly annoying. He just doesn't stop talking, and I've never been more excited for a character to receive a catastrophic injury like Bee losing his voice box. Lita One's played by Scarlett Johansson, and it's just Scarlett Johansson. Like, she's not bad, but like she's not doing anything special. It's just her. And I didn't pick it up on my first watch, but there is an undertone of bodily autonomy in the themes of the movie, which is kind of surprising coming from a Transformers movie. But it is called Transformers, But yeah, which is honestly, like, thinking about it, and I'm like, they could go real far with this, because
they really could.
This isn't the first time they've done this, because from my understanding in the comics, RC is potentially trans and was born a male Transformer, but like transitioned to a woman. So like, they could actually have a lot of fun with the idea of like, there are these robots that can transform, and play with the idea of like gender identity and like being gender fluid and things like that. It could be real fun if they wanted to play with that idea some more. But I won't necessarily spoil you exactly how they cover bodily autonomy, because it's like a big part of the story. But like, it's fun. The trailers did this movie so dirty, because the trailers make it look like it's a pure kids film, when it's actually a very deep and like contemplative origin story for the leaders of the Autobots and Decepticons. And the fact that they're all robots means that they can make it violent in a way that would be really uncomfortable if they weren't robots.
Right.
A character at some point gets ripped in half. Like, it's insane. They also made the origins of like the names of the Autobots and Decepticons less goofy, which is interesting. Like, they gave it like an actual origin that makes you go, oh, that makes sense. And yeah, like, this movie does well enough. I imagine we'll probably get at least 2 more movies with only Transformers before they go to Earth in like a 4th movie. Like, the next movie will probably be, there's this other threat in the world called the Quintessons, that I assume the second movie is going to be the Autobots and Decepticons will have to put aside their differences to defeat the Quintessons. But then the third movie, once the Quintessons are gone at the end of the second one, the third movie is just going to be the all-out war between Decepticons and Autobots. And then after that, they end up going to Earth. So yeah, it's a good movie. I'm excited for more. I need more. Transformersone. You should see it. You should watch it. It's real good.
I think I might.
Moving on to comics. I kind of fell behind on some stuff. So I caught up on Power Girl. I was like 3 issues behind. Power Girl number 10, 11, and 12. And number 10 was the end of the House of Brainiac tie-in with Lobo's daughter, Crush. And 11 and 12 was the beginning of a romance arc with an Asgardian, because Norse mythology exists in the DC universe as well. And Greek mythology exists in the Marvel universe.
Makes sense.
I mean, a lot of people don't know this, because as crazy as it is, like, the live action movies have still not adapted some of the most like some like relatively popular characters amongst people who read comics, and one of them is Hercules. Hercules is a very prominent member of the Avengers. Like, Hercules is an Avenger who's like currently in the comics. He's an Avenger. He's like one of the most popular members of the Avengers.
Interesting.
And like a lot of people wouldn't know. Like, there's certain things about like Marvel comics that people wouldn't know because of the changes the MCU made. Like the fact that the founding members of the Avengers were Iron Man, Hulk, Ant-Man, the original Ant-Man, Hank Pym, and the original Wasp, Janet Van Dyne, which in the MCU are the parents of Hank Pym, and Janet Van Dyne are the parents of the current Wasp, whose name I can't remember. Hope Van Dyne's her name, and the other dude is just not related to them. He's just dating their daughter.
I see.
And like, yeah, a lot of people don't know that, and it's like Ant-Man and the Wasp are like very important Marvel characters, and Wasp was actually supposed to be in the first Avengers movie, but they just decided to not do that. Also, Captain America wasn't a founding member. It was a couple issues before he joined, and they found him, frozen in ice. What is it? Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Hero is an incredible cartoon. If you want to get like an actual idea of what the Avengers are like, watch that. That show is really good. It's so underrated.
Got you.
It's really good. I need to finish up the second season because I started rewatching it not too long ago. The Flash number 12, the Archangels, which will never not be funny, have gathered their forces and are ready to bring forth the new age they seek. But the Flash family is gathered for a final stand while still dealing with public unrest and Waller's forces. Will it be enough to stop the Archangels? Yeah, that's it.
Well.
There was another sentence, but I was like, I'm not going to read that. Yeah, this arc has been interesting. It's been real weird. They've been getting real wacky with like some stuff with the Speed Force, which is fun. They're just trying a bunch of new stuff, which I'm not opposed to. Like this whole like the previous writer's run was essentially returning the Flash to what people have wanted it to be for so long, bringing back Wally West as the main Flash, who was formerly Kid Flash, but has not been Kid Flash since like the 80s. And there was a 6-year period where he just ceased to exist. But they brought him back, and then his character was assassinated. And then the previous writer essentially fixed all of that. And now they're just having fun with him.
That's good.
It's a time to bring down house number 3. See, I don't even know if I should read the synopsis. I'm going to. Just know that it's strange. It's out of the caster's lair and into the fire as Zatanna takes a tumble down the rabbit hole, although the order of the rabbits themselves will tell you they prefer the term bunny. Within, Zatanna finds her inability to perform real magic put to the test in a pulse-pounding fight with her life against a vicious champion the rabbits call the Destroyer of Souls. So this rabbit lady, she's a magician, Zatanna. So this story is essentially her origin. She hasn't become superhero yet, so she's not using magic. And she's a performer in Las Vegas, performing magic tricks. And she has a bunch of rabbits, naturally. And one of her rabbits just turned into like an anthropomorphic person.
Oh.
And started doing a bunch of magic and like trying to test her, and it got real weird, but it's fun. Birds of Prey number 12. Their attempt to control the portal dimension. This sentence doesn't make sense. This always happens when I copy synopsis. I start reading it and go, what are you saying?
What are you talking about?
Hold on, let me try. Their attempt to control the portal dimension has backfired. I think that's what it's supposed to say, but for some reason, maybe autocorrect messed it up. And hilarious. Yeah, that's exactly what it's supposed to say. Because what it says is, it says back and then no space, question mark. Again, no space, red. It's supposed to say backfired, obviously, but for some reason the question mark, the I turned into a question mark. And there's no F. I don't know what happened. But their attempt to control the portal dimension has backfired in a hilarious but violent way. And the Birds of Prey... Oh my god, for some reason, when I copied this, it just randomly turned letters into question marks. This is so strange. But and the Birds of Prey find themselves dealing with some unexpectedly cute results. Meanwhile, Oracle's escape plan nears completion despite some overenthusiastic assistance. Cassandra Cain has a big idea. Yeah, it just turned all the F's into... the F's and I's into question marks.
Interesting.
Because the F and I at the beginning of find is a question mark, and the F and I in backfired is a question mark. That's so weird. But Green Arrow number 14 and 15, with a new brand of deadly Amazos on the attack across the DC universe, no one is safe. So the Green Arrow family tracks down the Amazos' original creator, Professor Ivo. Can we help them stop Waller's master plans? But they are not the only ones searching for Ivo. Oliver Queen is also on the hunt. If you watched My Adventures Remake, you recognize those names, Amazo and Dr. Ivo, which they turned him into Parasite, which I've accepted that, but like it's still a weird change. Action Comics number 1067, because This man has been around for like 80 years.
Oof.
When a massively powerful alien race makes Earth their arena, Superman must stand alone against impossible challenges that threaten locations all around the world and the lives of those he loves. Very basic Superman story. um, Plastic Man no more. Eel O'Brien might be a superhero now, but before he was anything else, he was a crook until the accident that turned him into the pliable Plastic Man. Eel was bad to the bone, and just because he no longer has bones doesn't mean that's still not true. When an incident on the Justice League mission leads to catastrophic cellular damage, Plastic Man discovers he just might be out of time to make amends for the past he's tried so hard to outrun, or to save the soul of his son, who unfortunately for him might have inherited more from his dear old dad than just his superpowers. So,
Oh.
yeah, Plastic Man's a great character. I love Plastic Man. It's crazy he hasn't been in live
He's
action
very
yet.
silly.
And what is it? In Batman: The Brave and the Bold, he's voiced by Tom Kenny, aka SpongeBob, and Tom Kenny is great as Plastic Man. And what is it? What's his name? The dude that plays Shaggy in live action and also voices Shaggy and everything ever since then.
I can't remember.
I'm gonna look up Scream and then I'll see his name immediately. Matthew Lillard. He's apparently been cast as somebody in DC, and everybody's like Plastic Man because people want him to play Plastic Man. And as you can tell, Plastic Man has a son. Plastic Man's son has the exact same powers as him. So people's opposition to him playing Plastic Man is that he's too old, and I'm like, yeah, that's true. But
yeah,
because Plastic Man has a son who has the same powers and also is Plastic Man, they could do it where he plays Eel, he plays the father, and then his son is the younger Plastic Man, and they get the most of the casting for him are comedians. People have also wanted why every episode there's one name that I just can't remember.
You got this, I believe you.
I'm just look it up. Jim Carrey. who would be perfect as Plastic Man, but he's semi-retired and he's too old. But yeah, they could get him to play Plastic Man, Matthew Lillard, and then get people mostly want comedians to play the character, which makes sense. And the like runner-ups are the dude that's currently voicing Sonic in live action. I don't think I've ever known his name, so that's not even one that I'm like, I just can't remember. I just don't know his name. It's funny because I just looked up Sonic to find the name of Jim Carrey, so now I gotta look it up again to find this guy's name. Ben Schwartz.
Gotcha.
And then Keith Davidson is another one. And I've seen people do some fan art of him, Plastic Man. He'd be fun, Plastic Man. And then the dude who voices Spider-Ham in Across the Spider-Verse.
John Mulaney.
John Mulaney, yes. But funny enough, I think we could still get at least two of them because there's Elongated Man, who was a character that is literally just Plastic Man. Because Elongated Man was created because DC thought that they lost the rights to Plastic Man. So they decided to make another character that was basically just Plastic Man, just to find out that they didn't lose the rights to Plastic Man. So they made a whole copy for no reason. And funnily enough, even though Plastic Man is more popular, Elongated Man has actually been on the Justice League more times than Plastic Man. As funny as that is. But yeah, Elongated Man. If they could get if they get one of them to play Plastic Man's son, they could get the other one to play Elongated Man.
For sure.
But like, since John Mulaney is older than both Pete Davidson and Ben Schwartz, maybe not that much than Ben Schwartz though. How old is Ben Schwartz? He is 43. Yeah, never mind. Ben Schwartz is around the same age as John Mulaney. But Pete Davidson is pretty young. He's like late 20s, early 30s. So they could do a thing where like one of them plays, or like Ben Schwartz plays Plastic Man, and like Pete Davidson plays his son, and then John Mulaney plays Elongated Man. So you can have all three. That could be fun.
Yeah.
Even though maybe he's a little too young to have someone play his son. But at the same time, Plastic Man is like, he's Plastic Man, so he's going to look the same age forever. Mighty Thor, I do have a couple more comments to go, and one of them's long, and I've been talking a lot. Mighty Thor number 15, the Asgardian Shi'ar War starts here as Malekith's campaign to conquer the Ten Realms rages on. Thor and her League of Heroes lead the charge against the Dark Elf forces. But far across the galaxy, another conflict is brewing, and the most powerful super army in the cosmos is preparing a surprise attack on the City of the Gods. The Shi'ar Empire will lay siege to Asgardia, their target, the Goddess of Thunder. I'm actually going to read one before the other because one much longer. Grimm, I read numbers 17, 18, 19. I was behind.
Mhm.
But spoiler alert for the origin of the main character, which is like a focal point of the beginning of the story. Because I'm just gonna straight up spoil what is eventually revealed as a big major plot point. um,
No worries.
so Jessica Harrow, the daughter of Death, is trying to save the world from one of the original sins after it was freed by her aunt in an attempt to seize control of the underworld from her brother Death, which her brother Death. Yeah, Grimm is the art by Flaviano is so good, man. It's such a good
Ooh.
comic. If you just look up Grimm comic, go see the art. It's incredible. Um, but I was also I was
Ooh.
technically I was behind like one issue on Radiant Black, but because Radiant Black has been taking so long to release, I was only behind one issue. I technically should be behind like three or four, but I'm
Mhm.
not. Um, but like I read the penultimate issues of the Catalyst War arc, and because it's been a while, I'm gonna give a recap. So Radiant Black, for those of you who don't remember, and if you don't remember, is a comic
Mhm.
that touts itself as a combination of Power Rangers and Invincible, though not nearly as violent. It stars struggling
Hmm.
writer Nathan, who had to move back to his hometown after I'm from LA after falling into debt, where he finds a mysterious black hole-shaped object that bonds itself to him, turning him into Radiant Black. After a few heroic adventures, he finds out that he isn't the only person with a Radiant, but that he's the only one using it for good. Enter Radiant Red, who had the best spin-off comic from Radiant Black. Um, he fights Radiant Red and gets put into a coma trying to protect people from a collapsing building. Afterwards, his best friend, Marshall, takes up the mantle of Radiant Black, and he's much more cocky and attempts to make money off of his newfound ability. And after some
Mm.
heroic ventures with Marshall, the owner of the Radiance, or creator of the Radiance, attacks the planet, and Nathan and Marshall have to choose who will use the Radiance in the battle. A poll was made by the creators to choose who gets the Radiant, and I chose Nathan, but ultimately, it was their plan from the beginning to do both. So,
Ah.
since the beginning of the Catalyst War, there have been two issues every release, each from the point of view of either Nathan or Marshall as Radiant Black.
Mhm.
And they started off very similar with minimal changes, but with every issue, the changes got bigger and bigger until we got to where we are now, where the timelines are converging, and there's one more issue left in this arc, issue number 30. Um,
Ooh.
but yeah, that's all I got for comics. If you don't have any,
I can talk about Claymore a little bit. Because I discovered it.
it's by
An
Clamp, right?
artist that I really. Huh?
It's by
No, not by Clamp. Not
okay.
by Clamp.
I thought Clamp was by Clamp, wasn't it?
Uh, huh?
I don't know why I thought it was by Clamp. I think it's just the same era.
Yeah, 2007. Yeah, that's about Clamp times. It's by Norihiro Yagi, and the synopsis. The series is set on a fictional medieval island where humans are plagued by Yoma, shapeshifters that feed on said humans. A mysterious group known as the Organization creates human Yona hybrids to kill Yoma for a fee. These female warriors wear armored uniforms. The public refer to them as claymores, alluding to their claymore swords, or silver eye wishes due to their silver eyes. Came out in 2007. It's finished being drawn in 2014. I'm only on chapter 30. There's like a whole bunch. I think I want to say like 200 something. I'm really enjoying it so far though. Without spoiling too much, I really do enjoy the main character Claire. She's like great. Her whole thing. I think the one issue that I have with it is that it could have just been about Claire. I think like a good two chapters in, she gets like a little boy companion for reasons that I will not get into, but she like they're traveling together and he doesn't really add anything to the story. I really do think it should have just been Claire, but it's like it was 2007, so it's like you have to have a male in your shonen manga or it's not right or something. I don't know. But it's other than that, it's really good. It's nice getting to meet like all the claymores and I can't wait to see like what because there's obviously like something wrong with this organization because it's that's the plot of every manga like this and I'm excited to see like both how their methodology works and like what the big secret is behind them. But it's good. I'm enjoying it a lot.
All right. So moving on to TV and film, I sent you a trailer for Mickey 17.
You
uh,
did.
Directed by Bong Joon Ho of Parasite fame.
Yes.
A disposable employee is sent on a human expedition to colonize the ice world of Niflheim. After one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. It is Robert Pattinson doing another silly voice, so I'm in.
Yep.
But yeah, it looks good. Robert Pattinson's getting cloned, and in the trailer they show like one of the clones survives, and that causes conflict. So I'm interested to check out this movie. I don't remember release date. Let me look that up real quick. You know what? You look it up. You're faster.
Okay.
You're much faster looking things up.
Because I touch type. That's it releases January 31st, 2025.
Okay. Make you my Googler.
My noble job.
But yeah, it looks cool. I also sent you a trailer for a movie called I'm Your Monster. After her life falls apart, soft-spoken actor Laura Franco finds her voice again when she meets a terrifying yet weirdly charming monster living in her closet. It is a romantic comedy horror film about falling in love with your inner rage. It's a dark comedy, Beauty and the Beast, basically. The main character looks like Beast. And the monster looks like Beast. The main character is played by Melissa Barrera, who I'm glad is still getting work after Spotlight tried to blacklist her for wanting a ceasefire and firing her from Scream. Even though she's one of the best parts of those movies, and now they've shot themselves in the foot from having one of the greatest horror franchises with no bad movies to now a lot of people aren't going to watch the next movie because of this, and they're losing a lot of actors. Like I can't remember her name, but the woman who plays Wednesday Addams she's probably gonna. I think I think she did leave the project, and like a bunch of other people probably gonna leave that project. So it's like, yeah, that movie is like maybe it'll still be good, but I'm not watching it.
Yeah,
like they've ruined their reputation after having such good movies. 6 really good movies. Scream 6 was so good. It's my second favorite Scream now after the first one. Like I can't believe they've done this. I think I sent you a trailer for Sinners, which is simply described as a new vision of fear from director Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. Yeah, so a while back, Ryan Coogler was talking about making a vampire movie starring Black people, and like that was it really. And I think this might be it, but we don't know much. The trailer looks cool. The trailer didn't show too much though. It's Michael B. Jordan playing 2 characters, twins. And it looks like based on the poster, one of them like turns evil or like maybe gets turned into a vampire. And there's a glimpse of Haley Steinfeld, who might be a vampire and is like the person that like is turning people and is like the main villain. So like, I think like Michael B. Jordan technically is the main villain, but like, yeah, it looks cool.
It does look cool.
I assume it's gonna be good. Like Ryan Coogler has yet to let me down. I like every movie he's made. So
Michael B. Jordan was a great actor.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good. I'll send you a trailer for Ballerina. From the world of John Wick, a young female assassin played by Ana de Armas seeks revenge against the people who killed her family. Very basic story, but that's John Wick. It's just what you're there for is the action, and hopefully the action is just as good as the John Wick films. And to my surprise, I saw Lance Reddick. So this might be his final on-camera performance. Oh
wow!
As the character Charon. Yeah, I thought we'd already had his last performance in Percy Jackson, but no. It seems like this might be his last one. So we got the official teaser from Thunderbolts, which was leaked a while back. And the actual official version has more footage, thankfully. So, I was just watching the same. Yeah. Well, I mean, just seeing it in HD is much better than watching the blurred version I've seen before. But, yeah, they added some more information. And it like I said before, it looks good. I'm honestly excited for this movie. It releases May 2025. What do you think now that you've seen a proper trailer?
I'm pretty excited for it. It actually looks pretty good. Like I said, with the proper trailer and all that. I might watch it. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it depends on what people say about it. If people start saying it's like the best MCU movie ever, you might go see it. But like,
yeah,
I
have no dog in this race, so I'm like,
yeah, I like the characters. Costume design is like not great, except for the costume design on the Black Widow, the new Black Widow. I can't remember her name. I don't. Yelena, I think is her name.
Something like that. Yeah,
is great. She looks great. Her entire costume looks great. The actress just looks great. I can't remember her name either. I always forget names. I don't know why. If I wasn't on the podcast, I'd know her name, but the podcast just deletes my memory. You know what? Could you look it up for me? Because I was about to
I
look it up, but I was like, I
could.
have my professional Googler right here.
From the 2021 Black Widow?
Yeah.
Natasha Romanoff.
No. The actress who
No?
plays the
That
not
got
Scarlett
you. Okay.
Johansson, but the other one, the blonde lady.
Florence Pugh?
Yes, Florence Pugh.
Got you.
That's the name I was looking for. But yeah, it comes out May 25th.
Nice.
We got a teaser trailer for The Last of Us Season 2 on The Last of Us Day, which used to be called Outbreak Day, but after the pandemic day, I was like, you know what, maybe we shouldn't call it that anymore.
Yeah.
And it looks good. You know, the first season was great. I believe you haven't seen it because you like wanted to play the game or something. You got a PS4 now.
Yep. Yeah.
So you can play it.
I could. I might.
I wonder.
I will, I think.
No, I don't think it is because I was wondering if like part 1, the remake, was on PS4. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not because God of War Ragnarok is on PS4, so it could be.
I can check.
But trailer looks good. I won't get too much into that because I don't want to spoil anything story wise because you haven't seen it. But this season will be shorter than the first at 7 episodes, as opposed to 10. But that's because they're splitting the story of the second game across several seasons. And we're not sure if that'll be 2 seasons or 3. It could be both, or not both, but it could be 2 or 3. But that makes sense because Last of Us Part 2 was much longer than the first one. It's the reason I didn't finish my second playthrough because it's just such a long game, so I stopped playing in the middle of it. But yeah, Part 2 is easily my favorite of the two. And I'm excited to see what they add to the story because my favorite parts of the first season were the new additions and like expanded on moments and characters. As you know, Part 2 had a very controversial launch due to spoilers, leaks specifically, and a bunch of misinformation, as well as mostly sexism and bigotry. And there are some like legit criticism to be made about the way that Naughty Dog decided to tell the story, but none that should have resulted in the horrible harassment that the dev team and actors got.
Yeah.
Laura Bailey especially got it bad, who played Abby.
Sure.
No, I pray that the same doesn't happen for the live action crew and cast because they don't deserve it. Except maybe Neil Druckmann, because on top of that, there is the moral dilemma of the fact that we talked about it before. And the more I look it up, the more I realize, oh no, Neil Druckmann is just straight up a Zionist. For those of you who don't know, Neil Druckmann, creator of The Last of Us, he's also worked on Uncharted. I think he directed Uncharted 4 specifically. He also writes on the show. There was another thing I wanted to say. Oh, I think now he's like, and like, I forget the exact title of his position. If you like look up what his position is in Naughty Dog, but he's in like a higher like position of power in Naughty Dog now than he's ever been. And it's like, it sucks because he sucks.
Yeah.
And I was looking stuff up to like get confirmation that like, yeah, he made a whole tweet about like after the Hamas attacks, like saying a bunch of stuff. And it's like, whoa, dude, you're weird.
Yeah, he's the studio head and head of like creative endeavors, I think, of Naughty Dog. That's what Google's telling me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's why I didn't purchase the PlayStation 5 upgrade for Part 2, and I'm just going to stick to the version I already got. And I'm struggling to decide if I'll buy their next game. And I'm really hoping that they don't make the next Uncharted game and that they have another studio make that game. Because, like, I'm glad they're making a new game because then it's easy for me not to play it because I have no dog in the race versus Last of Us Part 3, which I would want to play. And, like, yeah, he just sucks. And on one hand, he's one person in a team of hundreds, but he's in a leadership position, and
and that's what makes it not difficult, but like
another part is that he also puts some of his views into the game. We talked about it a little bit before, but like the factions of the WALF or Wolves, as they're called in the game, and the Seraphites are based off of Israel and Palestine, respectively, and it's
like this isn't a case where you can separate art from the art. Artists' views are so deeply ingrained in the art.
Yeah, like there's a deeper discussion to be had because like at the same time, like, and it's definitely a combination of being me like trying and hoping like maybe he's not as bad as a person as he seems, because at the same time, the Seraphites are meant to represent Palestine, and the wolves Israel, and the Seraphites are shown to be this like religious group that is kind of shown to be like fanatical and kind of essentially bad, and you're not supposed to like them. But they do give you a couple characters that are from the Seraphites who are trying to leave them because one of them is trans, and like the Seraphites don't like that. Um, and then you have the wolves, who are also one of the characters. One of the main characters you play as, Abby, is a part of the wolves, but she's also leaving the wolves because the wolves also aren't great. So it's like a situation
Mm-hmm.
where like you have people leaving from both sides because both sides aren't great, even though in real life that's not the case.
Definitely not the case.
One is just being eradicated. But at the same time, that is also what's happening in the story of the game. And like you could analyze it in a way that is more accurate to real life, where like the
Mm-hmm.
Seraphites aren't that bad, and the wolves do like. There is never a point in time where they really make you where they like they. I think it starts off with them trying to make it seem like, because one of the main characters is a part of the wolves. It starts off like, yeah, some of the wolves are good, and then as the story goes along, you're like, oh no, they suck.
They're terrible.
So at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like you could argue that it is closer to how the conflict is depicted in real life, but at the same time, it's still not great. Um,
Yeah.
and like you said, that separation is very difficult. And I want to support them, but like, I like need him to like come out and say something in opposition of Israel for me to actually believe that he isn't just a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything points to him just not being a good person. And like I
Understand.
said, I
Yeah.
really hope they don't make the next Uncharted game. Please get someone else to do it, and you just get busy with your new game and have someone else make Uncharted, please. um, but yeah, I am gonna watch the show though.
Really.
Whether or not I play any of their future games, who knows? But I will watch the next season of the show. But anybody out there, you decide not to watch this because of this, I understand. I don't blame you.
Maybe. I
Like
don't
I
know. We'll
didn't,
see.
because I didn't visit. I didn't play Hogwarts. Well, one, because even though I am not the biggest, but I am a Harry Potter fan. I just
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for that game or like everything surrounding it. So I was just like, I'm not gonna play that game. So
Really.
like I get it. We pick and choose depending on it depends. It definitely depends like on the situation that's happening, because like for the most part I'm
For sure.
boycotting, but then there are places where I'm like I can it's easier to boycott restaurants because you can find another restaurant that makes the same thing than it is
Right.
to boycott a piece of media where it's like you might not be able to find that same thing somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you want to hold to your convictions. It's not it like people
For sure.
it's complicated than it seems. It's more complicated than it seems.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunate that we have to make
Very
these types of
unfortunate.
choices. I wish I could just
Yep.
play my games, watch my shows, but now I gotta think real long and hard where now I want to support these things.
Mm-hmm. But it
I,
does
I
in
could
the
pirate it.
long run. That is also an option.
Pirating is an
Sailing
option.
the Seven Seas is also always an option, actually. But I will say, like, it does. While it is difficult and it is like very like it's a lot more work, I guess I'll say, for lack of a better term, it does make me consume my media a lot more critically,
For
and I
sure.
think that's really important, especially nowadays where media literacy is out the goddamn window.
Mm.
It really does make me like think twice about the things that I engage with, and I really wish a lot of people like had that foresight to even just think about it. Like you not even like engaging actively, but like just think about the things that you lend your time to.
Yeah.
Everyone talks all day and long about brain rot, brain rot, brain rot, but you are forwarding said brain rot by engaging with it. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah. We should all be like interacting with the things that we or like interacting with the things we consume like with our minds, like thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Critically is the word I was looking for. We should be interacting with these things critically and
Right.
using critical thinking.
Yeah, it's like do not fall into the easy slop trowel. It's so easy to just be like, I'm going to consume for the sake of consuming. And like I don't care about the quality or I don't care like what impact this has on the world at large. Like you have to it's borderline like life or death now.
I mean, it quite
without
literally is.
yeah. It's like I don't know. It's please think about your media before you watch it.
Yeah.
That's all. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, and it's not an easy thing to do, but sometimes you gotta do a little bit of research, figure out who you're supporting.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but last but not least, in TV and film for me is the Penguin. For a second, I was very
Mm.
confused because I looked at the clock and it said 15 minutes. I was like, huh? And I was like, oh yeah, I had to start recording again. um, so I had no expectations for this show, but it's actually really good so far.
Ooh.
Colin Farrell is great as the Penguin, and he just looks like a completely different person with the prosthetics
Mm-hmm.
that they put on him. Have you seen the Batman?
I have.
Yeah, and
No,
this is
actually, now that I think about it, no, I
you should,
haven't.
you should watch Batman. It's good.
I think I will.
Penguin's also really good. So Christine Milioti is another highlight of the show. Is Sophia Falcone. She has like the like live action equivalent of like the eyes that like Tim Burton characters have, where they're
Mm-hmm.
like big and almost bug eyed,
Mm-hmm.
and like they have this like scary intensity
Mm-hmm.
that makes her like a very like scary character, despite the fact that she's smaller than most people she's standing beside. It's very she's doing a very good job of just being a very intimidating character.
That's good.
But yeah, I'm excited for tonight's episode. It's a HBO prestige Sunday television,
Ooh.
which is cool. It's nice to have that routine of just sitting down on a Sunday and watching TV. It's always fun.
Yeah.
With The Last of Us, it was cool. With the House of the Dragon, it was cool. And now this. Now that I'm thinking about it, has there been 2 seasons of House of the Dragon in between the first season of The Last of Us, or am I tripping? No, I think House of the Dragon season 1 was first, and then it was The Last of Us, and then yeah, we just got season 2. Because I was like, that'd be insane if there was 2 whole
Very,
seasons of
very
House
nice.
of the Dragon in between The Last of Us. But Last was like early January last year.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have anything for TV and film, um,
Not that I can think of.
move on to video games, starting with Marvel Rivals. So we got a trailer for Psylocke, which I'm not sure if I sent that to you, but you might have come across it on Twitter or something.
I think I have just come across it. Yeah.
And yeah, we got a teaser for her, and at the very end, or we got a trailer for her, and at the very end, we got a teaser for Moon Knight.
Yes.
So he's coming out. Psylocke's design is based off Peach Momoko's Demon Days design, which is very ninja inspired. She looks really cool. Just the character designs in this game overall are just great. And like I'm excited to see what Moon Knight plays. I assume he's gonna play like what like Batman would play like if he was in a game like this, where he has his equivalent of batarangs, which are called crescent darts, which are just they're shaped like crescent moons. And he's probably gonna have those are gonna be his projectiles, and he's gonna be tossing those out. I wonder if he'll have his glider as like a part of his ability, because he essentially in the comics has a Fortnite glider. Like legit, he has a Fortnite glider that's shaped, as you can imagine, and as a crescent moon. And he like holds on to the handlebars and like flies around on it. It's actually really cool.
That does sound cool.
Like what is it, Gotham Knights? As bad as that game is, when I saw that Nightwing essentially has that same thing, I immediately thought, take everything about this but make it a Moon Knight game. A Moon Knight game would be really fun.
For sure.
Especially like switching between his different personalities, like would be really cool as well. Like it would be real fun.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm excited for Marvel Rivals. That comes out in December. So Palworld is being sued by Nintendo.
They sure are.
We thought it just wouldn't happen, but because it had been so long, but I guess it was just Nintendo building up their case. According to Nintendo, this lawsuit seeks an injunction against infringement and compensation for damages on the grounds that Palworld, a game developed and released by the defendant, infringes multiple patent rights.
And it's
hold on. Nintendo will continue to take necessary actions against any infringement of its intellectual property rights, including the Nintendo brand itself, to protect the intellectual properties it has worked hard to establish over the years. But yeah, go ahead.
It's crazy to me that this is a lawsuit about like game mechanic patents rather than I don't know, the fact that they use Pokemon models in the game.
Exactly.
Like you could go after that and you would build a case and you would have a genuine case. But no, let's go after like patents for game mechanics, which is a stupid concept to begin with.
Exactly. Like there are other like monster taming games out there,
right,
that haven't been attacked by Nintendo. But this is, I guess, one of the first like really big ones. So they're like, wait a minute, you're stepping on our toes of our monopoly in this genre. How dare you? We have to take you down, which is like scummy as hell. Like
Very scummy.
they like I don't think anyone would be upset if they sued them because they stole character designs.
Right.
But suing them over like you said, gameplay stuff is weird.
Very weird.
This is very strange, and it does not bode well for the future. But we still don't know the specifics, so for now we'll have to wait and see if it's that or something else. Who knows? It could be both.
Could be both.
But
I hope it's not.
Yeah.
Both. I hope that like there's like an actual case and it's not just like Nintendo being terrible as usual.
Like, oh, you're not allowed to just catch monsters. That game is so different from Pokemon. But I bet you
it really is.
I bet you this. If they sue them and this game gets taken down, Nintendo is then going to release a game that's just like it.
Yep, for sure.
100%.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Because I said it when I was playing Palworld. It's everything that I want from Pokemon, except for the guns. But other than that,
right.
It's everything that I want from Pokemon. But sticking on Nintendo train, we also got some Switch 2 leaks of a 3D model and some spec details. So it looks like it'll be sporting an 18-inch screen. Not 18-inch, 8-inch. 18-inch would be crazy. That would be insane. That's bigger than like the biggest laptops.
Right.
My bad. It's sporting a 8-inch screen, which is rumored to unfortunately not be OLED, which I hope is not true. Because then they're just going to do the thing where later on they release an OLED model. Which
they're
is
like, oh, the Switch 2 OLED. And it's like, okay, thanks. Could just done this to begin with.
And the leak also perpetuates the idea that the Joy-Cons will be connected magnetically, which we've talked about before. And I'm sure you've seen those rumors for the last like year. Since I think it was like, it might have been like a patent that people found from Nintendo, because patents are public. Of like magnetic Joy-Cons. So supposedly that's how the new Joy-Cons will connect, which is interesting. I assume if that's the case, it'll be secure. Because when you think about it, you think that maybe it won't, like, it'll still like just fall off, but there'll probably be
there's some strong magnets out there.
I was gonna say it'll probably be some pretty strong magnets. But also supposedly it might be a magnetic rail system, so it might still be on a rail, but it will still,
which I would be okay with.
Also use magnets. I think a lot of people's concern is that there are just so many cool Joy-Con colors that some people bought multiple, and they want to still be able to use their old Joy-Cons on the new one. So
makes sense.
Hopefully maybe they do create a rail system that can still use old Joy-Cons. But also if the system itself is bigger, that might not be the case. Or who knows?
It's gonna be weird.
But the specs are where I'm most interested in. I do like the fact that the screen's bigger, but the specs is what I'm interested in. As a person who mostly plays like PlayStation and Xbox games.
Right.
So this console will supposedly have more RAM than the Xbox Series S, which is the current gen.
Wow.
But slightly weaker version of the Series X. And it will have power on par with the PS4 Pro. And it will use DLSS image upscaling to make old games look a little better. So if this is true, this will like be a huge upgrade in performance and graphical fidelity for Nintendo games. And imagine what like future Nintendo games are going to look like.
Yeah.
With like power and RAM on par with the PS4 Pro and Xbox Series S. That's pretty powerful for Nintendo specifically. Like, they're still going to continue to make stylized game, but I've said it before, like, just because something's stylized doesn't mean that they couldn't take advantage of better graphics.
Really powerful graphics.
Like there's
Palworlds.
Because I think I mean, kind of. I'll let you finish that thought.
Mostly.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, like mostly what I'm thinking of is the fact that like it has the capability to handle the goals that it does.
Yeah.
Like how the bosses, from what I've seen, explode into like all those gems. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool and a really cool way to like use the power of the PS5 in that stylized way. So I think that Nintendo has the capability to do it, especially like with the Switch 2 coming out. I just don't know if they'll take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's also like people think that like more detail doesn't always just mean more realistic detail. And like you can still add more detail to stylized art styles. And I always use Spider-Verse as an example of like, imagine a game that looks like Spider-Verse. Like you don't get that because like Nintendo's console is just not powerful enough to render something that looks like that. But imagine if it could.
Right.
Imagine if they had a console that was powerful enough to make a game that looks like Spider-Verse. It's still super stylized and cartoony, but it's just at a level of detail that is just unimaginable. Like it could be real cool. And like you said, Astro Bot is a good example of a 3D platformer on a modern gen console that has excellent performance and looks really good. But yeah, I'm excited to finally get a Switch eventually.
Yeah.
But it's coming out next year. They've all but confirmed it. It's just a matter of when will they announce it.
Yeah.
So not too long ago, I actually talked to our coworker Beth about Nintendo making. What if they made an official Game Boy emulator? Because Beth has a Game Boy emulator on her phone that looks like a Game Boy. And I'm like, what if Nintendo just like instead of having people rob them, which they don't like, just make one. People want to buy your games. You just got to make them available to purchase.
Cough, cough, 3, cough, cough.
Yeah, obviously the reason they haven't is because they want people to buy their consoles. But it would be cool if they did make an official like Game Boy app. Like I would assume like they got to make money, so it would probably cost like I don't know $20, and then you have to also buy the games, or maybe I would have it be you either can buy the games or subscribe and get access to a bunch of games. And that would be really cool. And imagine like you have the Game Boy on your phone, like for those, like it looks like the actual physical Game Boy, and it has the buttons as touch buttons on the touch screen of the phone. And you could imagine being able to change the color of it or make it like the transparent version of it. Like it could be really cool. And imagine you could like swap you could like flip it over, and then it looks like the like I don't even know what to call it. Like the Advance, but like there was another model of it that I can't remember the name of, but like it looks like the Game Boy Advance.
The SP?
It might be the SP.
The one that flips open like a DS?
Maybe, but it would be cool. Like if you had like an SP like background and like you flip it and it turns to the Game Boy Advance, like it would be really cool. It'd be really cool if they did something like that, but they're not because they don't like money.
Nope.
They prefer people to buy it. But moving on to Tokyo Game Show, which
oh wait, there's one more Nintendo thing. Echoes of Wisdom released.
Yes, it did.
Very quietly. I haven't played it. It looks good though.
It does look good. I've heard good things.
That's all I have to say. Yeah.
Was it Plucky Squire also came out, which is a Zelda-like game as well, which I've also been hearing.
And it's free.
Things. Yeah,
on PlayStation Plus.
It is. It's probably how I'll play it for a little bit until I have it for like a month, and then it runs out, and I'm like, you know what, I'll just buy it.
Real.
But apparently the only complaints with Plucky Squire is that it's too easy, but otherwise it's a good game. But yeah, Tokyo Game Show. We'll start off with we got a teaser for some DLC characters for Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves, where we're getting Terry Bogard and Mai Shirinu in Street Fighter 6, and we're getting Ken Masters and Chun Li in Fatal Fury.
Nice.
So it's cool. Look, my mind immediately went like, oh yeah, Mai Shirinu is going to be Street Fighter 6. I'm excited to see what that looks like. But anyway, because I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen it or if I sent it to you, but they released a trailer for Mai in Fatal Fury not too long ago. And people were complaining about her new costume, which looks great. I don't know if you've seen it, where she has like a black leather jacket and leather pants. Like look up Fatal Fury: City of the Wolves Mai Shirinu, which is Mai. And
I'm already on it.
Her new costume's great, but also she still has her old costume, and she still has the physics that you're all expecting. So it's not that deep. Like you get the best of both worlds. Like she looks so good. I hope that costume is in Street Fighter 6 as like the alternate costume, because it looks really good. So like I don't know what people were complaining about. Like they make the character sexier and you get upset. I don't get it. People just want to be upset about something.
I was going to say, the grifters, they make money off of outrage. They got to find something to be mad about.
Like I'd understand if you were upset, if they like made her boobs smaller. I'm like, hey, how dare you? I'd be upset too. No, I'm joking. But that would be a wild change though. That'd be so random too.
No, for real. Like how they nerfed not Ultraman. What is his name? The guy from Invincible. What is his name?
Omni-Man? Yeah, in Fortnite. Yes, his butt isn't as big. It's literally flat. I was like, they just took his ass away. Why would you do this?
Do that.
Okay.
Right.
Aren't we supposed to be fighting for equal rights? Men deserve to have fat asses too. Okay.
Real.
Did you see that people are like comparing Mrs. Incredible and Chun-Li in Fortnite?
I did.
And I saw somebody made a post saying like, I'm a gooner, but I'm not this level of gooner.
No, for real.
But admitting you're a gooner is like the wildest thing I've ever seen on the internet. Like, keep that to yourself, okay? Like... Goon in private.
Like the rest of us.
But
it's like you would have to waterboard that out of me. I wouldn't admit that in a public forum. More power to you, though.
Yeah, but moving away from gooning, Snake Eater.
Indeed.
We got a trailer and we got 13 minutes of gameplay footage. And we got some HE images of the main characters, which I don't know if you've seen them, but
I have.
Yeah, they look good. So the gameplay footage was in Japanese, so I couldn't make out much of what they were saying, except for the occasional English word they would drop. It's weird when I don't know if you like. It's crazy what words they decide to say in English and stuff like this. Mm-hmm. It's always the titles.
Yeah, loan words. Yeah.
Which is strange to me, especially when there are subtitles. Why is the title in English? That's weird. What does it sound like in Japanese? I wonder, because I never get to hear the titles of these games in Japanese because they always say it in English. Yeah, it's always weird which words they decide to say in English. But because of that, I was able to pick up context watching the video. And it looks good. It wasn't super long. Like I said 13 minutes, and I don't think they showed any gameplay. It was just going around the environment, talking about UI stuff. And yeah, it looks good. I'm excited.
It does.
But speaking of looking good, the new character models are great. Actually, no. Speaking of gooning, no, never mind. No, I'm joking. But Ava, being the femme fatale of this very 007 inspired story, is even more gorgeous than she's ever been. Because she's no longer polygons. She actually looks like a person.
Right.
And the boss's model looks slightly different than she did in her first reveal in one of the older trailers. Where before, the one thing I didn't like was that her hair is brown for some reason. When if you look at the old game, it's like platinum blonde, but for some reason it was brown, but now it's actually blonde again. So I was like, okay, because it was so weird that it was like dark brown versus the very bright platinum blonde than it was in the original game. It was really weird. But something I hope that they also fix is that they made Ocelot's hair white in this game when it's also supposed to be blonde. Because in the other games his hair is white because he's an old man in those games, but right now his hair is supposed to be blonde. If you guys got the time, maybe fix that too. But they also slightly changed the boss's face to look a little bit more like how it does in the original, and she looks great.
Listen, I would buy the game just for her. I'm gonna be honest.
The boss, because when I saw him, I was like, Eva looks good and she's supposed to be the sexy character, but the boss though, the boss makes that stealth suit look good. Okay, I'll wear their stealth suit. she makes me want to buy it. I'm a cosplay the boss.
Crazy take.
Listen, there's at one point in the game, it's for story reasons. I promise it's not just like it's not like Ava where at one point she has her jacket zipped up, but then she unzips it down to show her bra. But there is a point in the story where Boss does the exact same thing, but it's for a very specific story reason. I promise it's not just them being perks. But I don't want to. She has a scar on her chest, and she was showing it.
Got you. Okay.
But I think Metal Gear Solid 5, I think you can wear that costume as Snake, and he also has it zipping down to his belly button, so he's just showing off his chest, and it's so funny.
Good for him. It's
so funny. But yeah, the boss is great. She's one of the best characters in the franchise. She's basically the backbone of the entire franchise in terms of the story. She's the reason why the boss does what he does, or the big boss does what he does. But yeah, the characters and their models look great. Volgin looks terrifying, and his scar looks nastier than it ever has. It looks disgusting, and that's good. He's supposed to be a bad person.
Right.
And Ocelot is made to look more like a younger version of his older counterpart, and some people weren't a fan of that, but I was like, I like it because he now actually looks like he grows up to be the older version from all the other games. Which Ocelot is in every single Metal Gear game, by the way.
Oh wow!
There's except for Rise and Revengeance, but that's a spin-off game that's not canon. But every main Metal Gear game, I think he's in every single one of them.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's why he's my favorite Metal Gear character. I love Ocelot so much, and this iteration of the character is so good too. Yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah. Before I move on to Death Stranding, we also do see character models for Major Zero, Paramedic, and Sigint, which you actually only see their full bodies at the very end of the game. For the most part, you just see a picture of them in the codec calls.
Huh.
So, um, there is a reason to have their character models, but like you only see them for a very brief moment at the very end,
Well,
because that's after the mission is over. Whereas for the most of the game, you're actively in the mission and you're just talking to them over the radio.
makes sense.
Um, but speaking of Kojima games, Death Stranding 2, we got a ton of short clips from cutscenes that reveal the names of some of your companions and a look at the new photo mode. So the character that George Miller is playing is named Tarman, and then the little doll dude is named Dollman. Very creative with these names. People always make fun of the Death Stranding names because they're crazy, like Die Hard Man.
That's not real.
Look up Die Hard Man right now.
It is real, and I'm a little upset that it's real.
It's so funny.
Why is he wearing a gimp suit?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
I realize the more and more I hear about Death Stranding, the less and less I understand the story.
It's on PlayStation 4. I mean, I think it's on actually on PlayStation Plus. Like if you have a subscription, you should check it out.
It is. I might.
Mailman Simulator.
Die Hardman is the name of all time.
You basically play an Amazon delivery driver. Except that you don't. Except that you don't have a truck. You have to hand deliver the packages.
You have to walk. Okay.
You have to walk the whole time. It's a very interesting game. You might like it. Who knows?
I might. Maybe we'll see. Maybe by next episode I'll play it a little bit and I can come back and talk.
And the story's insane. It's like I've learned that I have I have a lower tolerance for Kojima's bullshit when it's not Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's real.
Because Metal Gear, I'll take all the goofy and wackiness all day, but outside of it, I'm like, maybe you didn't have to do that, Kojima.
All I know is that there's a baby. Like that's like,
God, man, I say that, but I love it. It's so fun because it's so stupid and wacky and goofy, and Kojima's just having fun and doing what he wants, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I like that he's just able to have fun and make what he wants to make. But according to Gematsu, photo shoot event is the I'm sorry, I'm stumbling out of my words because we got sidetracked. But like I said, we saw the names of the companions, but we also saw got to look at the new photo mode. According to Gematsu, there is a photo shoot event in which the player can photograph the characters and with an instant camera. But there will also be a separate regular photo mode throughout the rest of the game. But yeah, he suggests that like even though this looks like it's just a fun only element, that it actually has an influence on the story and that you should take a lot of pictures. So probably because people are gonna die and you're gonna be sad and you're probably gonna want pictures of. But I was gonna send you a video of it earlier, but the reason we started an hour late is because I had to write my notes. I write my notes in the morning. And I realized that there were so much more notes than I thought there were because yesterday I didn't write anything. I usually write like half of it Saturday, the other half Sunday, but I just didn't do that this time. I just wanted to chill on Saturday.
I get it.
But like, yeah, it looks cool. It's like 3 of the ladies in the game just posing for photos and you taking pictures. It's real fun.
That sounds fun.
We also get some more Kojima wackiness. With an in-game music video that can be triggered by doing a certain action in the game's private room. And you can watch an event where Japanese singer-songwriter Daichi Miura alongside a group of dollmans perform a new song and dance created for the game called Horizon Dreamer.
Interesting.
At the very end of the event, Kojima commented on the release date, stating, "While we haven't announced the release date yet, we naturally already have one set. The plans are in place, although production is progressing towards that goal. There are various factors that could affect the timing of the release. We've said 2025, so it will come out next year. The release date will be announced sometime next year." Yeah. So he says they have one set, but it could move. So they're gonna release it next year. It's just who knows when. Probably
right. When exactly?
I assume fall. but summer would be cool.
Yeah,
Like
for a game this big.
if I have time, I think I'll sit down and play the first one, see if I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't played it because I just didn't think I would. But like the director's cut might be cool.
Yeah,
Because they add a bunch of stuff to make it a little bit more fun in there. So yeah, I'll try it out before this one comes out because I want to play the second one, but I want to try the first one first to see if I even like the first one.
Makes sense.
But like yeah, we'll see. So let's see. Let's just start off with the PS5 Pro 30th Anniversary Edition. I tried. I failed. It sold for $1,000. And I would have bought it. And is now being sold on eBay for $2,600.
Good lord!
At the cheapest.
Crazy.
And I still considered buying it, but I didn't, and I won't. It's not worth it. But I have gotten to the point to where I'm like, I will get the Pro, but I'm not either. I'm not going to get the Pro either. Hopefully, the disc drive releases before GTA 6, but at the very least, around the time GTA 6 comes out is when I'll get the Pro.
Makes sense.
We also saw some Astrobot DLC, where they haven't shown them all, but they showed like 2 robots that they're adding. One of them is the main character from Stellar Blade, Eve.
Ooh.
And I actually don't remember what the other one was.
I'm on it.
Yeah. So funnily enough, I mean, this is kind of a spoiler, but also not. In the main game, sadly, there aren't any Final Fantasy characters.
Oh.
Because I would have loved to find Lil Tifa, Cloud, Aerith, Barrett, Red 13. I don't know if I want to find Sephiroth, but it'd be cool. But yeah, there aren't any Final Fantasy characters in the main game, but maybe they could be in the DLC. Who knows? Because it is weird to not have any Final Fantasy characters, 7 characters in here specifically, when like that's an iconic PlayStation game, and 7 Remake and Rebirth are timed exclusives on PlayStation. So it's like, what's happening? But we got a trailer for a game called Midnight Walk, which is not a game that I'm interested in playing, but the way it's made is very interesting. It is a dark fantasy, handcrafted adventure in which every asset was first sculpted in clay and then 3D modeled or 3D scanned into the game. In the Midnight Walk, you awake as the Burnt One, a mysterious being who's dug themselves out of a muddy grave to find their purpose. They find it in Potboy, a little dormant lantern creature that you reignite and bring back to life. Together, you must venture down the Midnight Walk, a perilous, nightmarish highway. Along the way, survive 5 strange tales about fire, its life-giving warmth, as well as its inherent danger. But outsmart ghoulish enemies, meet a fantastical cast of companions, and gaze and wonder at our handcrafted world. That's right, every asset in the game was first sculpted in clay before being 3D scanned into the game and animated in a stop-motion style.
This is really cool.
What's also very interesting is that it's releasing on both PlayStation VR and PS5 in spring of 2025. From my understanding, this is, I think, the first game to do that, to be both VR, specifically PlayStation VR's exclusive game to be both VR and just a regular game. But maybe this is poor timing on their part, not on purpose. But Palworlds is coming to PlayStation. Yay! Who knows how long it'll be there?
Yeah.
It's coming to PlayStation, and they keep adding stuff to PlayStation. I mean, Ninja Turtles: Shredder's Revenge. They've added Mondo, Gecko, and Mona Lisa as playable characters, and have like a remixed soundtrack. Me and my friends have been playing it on hard mode, and to our surprise, it's hard. And we've been struggling. We're on the final level. We made it, and now we're just trying to beat the final boss, which is not easy. We got another trailer for Sonic X Shadow Generations, and we saw that there would be a level based off the Sonic 3 movie with Keanu Reeves playing Shadow, which is interesting. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 are being remastered, and it looks really good. I've always heard of these games, but I've never played them. Maybe I'll check them out. So Fear the Spotlight is an atmospheric third-person horror adventure with a disturbing mystery to unravel. Sneak into school after hours is Vivian and Amy. Survive a seance gone wrong, solve tactile puzzles, and whatever you do, stay out of the... And then there's an ellipses. Yeah, this is the first of the many games that Blumhouse's new game studio is making that we talked about a while back. And they were doing this in partnership with Annapurna, but Annapurna doesn't exist anymore. We never talked about that.
Yikes.
So I haven't even done much research in it, but like I don't know what happened. So we'll have to talk about that next time because that's weird.
Yep.
Um,
Very weird.
I would have done more earlier, but I didn't have time because like that's strange. I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
That's kind of messed up. They were doing really good for indie stuff.
For sure.
But we got the Horizon Zero Dawn remaster. I think I sent you.
Yes.
That. Which honestly looks really good. It's one of the most impressive remasters I've ever seen. So, studio and art director Jan Bart Van Beek said on Twitter, "We brought over Aloy's model from Forbidden West. We also reworked the character lighting to match the look of Horizon Forbidden West and improved skin tones. Hair shaders are also improved. The slight blurring you see, but well, this is just about the images he showed where there's a slight blurriness on it because of some motion blurring, but it's not going to look that in that full game. But yeah, it looks good. They also re-recorded like hours of mocap. So like
wow,
they put a lot of hard work into like taking the original and without completely remaking it, upgrading it and updating it for modern consoles, which is really cool.
For sure. Yeah.
Honestly, this like sets a high bar for future AAA remasters. Because I'm like, when you remaster a game, I'm gonna want this now. When it comes to like AAA games specifically, not like I don't need indie games to remaster like this, but like you're gonna remaster a AAA game. This is how you do it.
Yep.
So there's not a lot of information about this, but Stellar Blade is having a crossover with Nier.
Yes, I saw. And Yoko Taro's statement about, he said this on Twitter, but then also in an interview, he was like, "We will cross over Nier with anything if you give us enough money."
Yeah, I mean, they've literally been doing that. Like,
yep.
I mean, I respect the hustle. That's crazy. He's just
I do too, for sure.
I'll cross over Nier with Pornhub. Just give me enough money.
Money, right? And I respect that. I'm surprised that they have not put 2B in Fortnite. I'm just waiting for the day that it's announced because she's in PUBG. Yeah.
Huh. And you're right. I saw that trailer back when they first headed
it was insane
to PUBG. That was crazy. And she's in a fighting game. What game is she in?
She's in Soul Calibur. I don't remember which Soul Calibur, but I know she's in Soul Calibur.
There's a 2D fighting game that she's in. I can't remember which one it is. It's not Guilty Gear. It's something else.
Not Guilty Gear for sure.
I forget what it's
called. There's mods to put her in Guilty Gear, but I don't know.
Yeah, they're adding I forget the name of the character, but the one of the characters from Cyberpunk Edge Runners to Guilty Gear.
Oh, nice.
It's the lady, the Netrunner lady. I can't remember her name.
Oh, gotcha.
Like the main love interest. But last, but absolutely, certainly, positively not least, we got a trailer for the sequel to Ghost of Tsushima.
Yup.
Ghost of Yotei. It's Yotei. Yotei. It's pronounced Yotei. See, I keep saying, I said, my first thought, I read a lot of manga, watch a lot of anime. You see an EI, it's A. It's A.
Right.
But because I keep hearing people mispronounce it, I started mispronouncing it. But Ghost of Yotei. And 1603, more than 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima, which is very interesting, a new ghost named Atsu sets out on a journey in the lands surrounding Mount Yotei, an area filled with sprawling grasslands, snowy tundras, and unexpected dangers. Ghost of Yotei comes to PS5 in 2025, which is surprising.
Soon.
But then I remembered, oh wait, the original game came out in 2020, so this actually makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, you should play it PS4.
Actually, it's funny that you say that. I have a dog in this race. I'm not playing it personally, but my girlfriend is.
Oh, that's cool.
Play it, and it is a really good game.
It's so good. It looks so pretty.
Gorgeous, also.
Like,
yeah.
I talked about it before. Like it was before, for me. It was between Red Dead Redemption and Ghost of Tsushima as like the prettiest like open world areas. And for me, it's Red Dead. But granted, I'm currently playing Red Dead. If I replay Ghost of Tsushima, maybe I'll then say Ghost of Tsushima because they're both really pretty.
We're both really enjoying it so far. It's like I said, the game is gorgeous. The soundtrack is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Everything about it is gorgeous. The story is pretty good so far. We're not that far in, but it's also making me want to play
Okami.
Why? I don't know.
But Madoratsu is in Astro Bot.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's like they feel similar to me, not because Japanese.
You're
It's
cutting
like
out a lot.
I am. That's
Yeah.
weird. I have my audio recorded, so I'll send that over to you just in case it like caught what I said.
Okay.
Hopefully. But yeah, it reminds me of Okami just from the like the feel of it rather than like the heavy Japanese influence. Like yes, they have that thing in common, but the gameplay feels like Okami to me in a way. And I don't know how to explain that like to make it make sense, but it's making me crave Okami.
It's like very like Japanese myth in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
What's so Ghost of Tsushima has like some of the best like open world navigation ever because
For sure.
they don't make you open up your map if you don't want to because you just swipe on a touchpad and you just follow the wind to your main objective.
Yep.
And their smokestacks lead you to side quests and on like outpost. Excuse me, like foxes lead you to I forget what they lead you to because it's been a while since I played it. And then like you have animals that lead you to certain things. Like you have things that lead you to hot springs to get more health. Like the
birds,
game
specifically.
yeah, you got the birds and the foxes and like
that.
yeah, it's like you don't ever have to open a map if you don't want to. Like the game will just show you. Like you can completely immerse yourself in the game, and it's great.
It really is, and it is free on PS Plus right now.
Yeah,
so
of course. But yeah, so I immediately, the moment they showed the character's face, I was like, that looks like Erika Ishii from Dimension 20. Lo and behold, it is. And people aren't a fan of that. But we'll get to that later.
Not at all. Yeah.
So a little bit after the reveal, Erika Ishii tweeted, I've dreamed of this my entire life, but I still can't believe I'm part of art like this. I am the ghost of Yotei. So it was a teaser trailer, so they didn't show too much. They showed like a bunch of open world environments. And at the end, a very quick and brief glimpse at combat, showing a bunch of new weapons. So in Ghost of Tsushima, you can only use a single katana, with different stances, but that's it. In this game, you'll be able to do wield swords, and you'll be able to wield weapons other than swords. You'll be able to use Kusarigami, which is basically sickle and chain. You have and we saw a flintlock rifle. So yeah. We'll likely also get other weapons like spears, shields, bigger swords because there are bigger swords than katanas, and probably smaller swords we'll get. So I'm excited for that because that was one of my biggest things that I wanted in the next game was different weapons. Because even though samurai are famous for using katana, they also use spears and gigantic swords and not just katanas. So I'm excited to see that. Atsu also wears the shamisen on her back as opposed to Jin's flute, which can be used to change the weather. I don't know if you know that, but
I do.
It's very fun addition in that game because like if it starts raining and like I want it to be sunny, you just play the flute and the weather changes. You're a god.
Yep. Very Zelda-esque.
We also see wild horses. Which I wonder if that means you'll be able to catch and tame horses. Because in Ghost of Tsushima, they force you to just use one horse and you name it. But I wonder if in this game you'll be able to actually get different horses like in Red Dead Redemption 2. Maybe like sell horses to get money and stuff like that. Because that's nice. a big part of Red Dead Redemption. Which there are several moments in this game that remind me of like maybe they're pulling in stuff from Red Dead Redemption. That could be really fun. But speaking of animal companions, it looks like we could potentially have a wolf companion. Because there's a moment where like she's like look like she's about to fight a wolf, but then the wolf like turns away from her and like runs forward, so it looks like they might be friends. So who knows?
Yay!
A small detail that was pointed out is that in the shot where she's wiping blood off of her sword, she's wiping it onto a piece of paper and simultaneously crossing off a name. Which is cool. Like I said, I was fully expecting a 2026 release date, so 2025 was surprising until I realized Ghost of Tsushima came out 2020.
Right.
And that year was stacked because that was the same year that Final Fantasy Remake came out. Last of Us Part 2 came out, and Hades came out officially.
Right.
I assume it'll probably come out later in the year versus earlier. So maybe like late summer or like early to mid fall. But maybe they'll surprise me again and release it earlier than that.
I
But
wouldn't be mad at it.
we got a lot more info about this game from the New York Times of all places.
Mm-hmm.
With an interview with the game's directors Nate Fox and Jason Cornell by Zachary Small. So we
Mm.
learned that inspiration for the new game's setting came during 2 research trips into northern Japan, where they visited more than a dozen locations. But it was the image of Mount Yotei reflecting across Lake Toya that inspired all. I'm excited to see what that looks like in the game.
For sure.
Because when I first saw the mountain in the trailer, I thought it was Fuji, and I think like at some point in the interview they say like because it like gives a similar feel to Mount Fuji, they wanted to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But what did I live off? I sat there for 2 hours just staring at the mountain. Kano says of the active stratovolcano, which is similar in appearance to Mount Fuji. That see, all I had to do was keep reading, and I would have got there.
Yep. It happened.
Fox said another highlight was Shiratoko National Park on the northeast tip of Hakodai, which is the main area that the game takes place in. Which he visited to record nature sounds for his audio team. Inside the park, you have to watch a video telling you about the dangers of bears. Being in this incredibly beautiful park with jagged cliffs and water, yet all the time being aware there were dangerous bears was electrifying. We strive to bring that into the video game, that feeling of danger, which makes me think we're gonna have to fight animals. Or maybe, you could run away, but like you're gonna get attacked by bears.
The
Again,
option is there.
like Red Dead Redemption.
Yep.
I feel like they're probably taking a lot of inspiration from that. So I keep losing my train of thought every time I stop reading. I'm like, where did I leave off? Again, if I just kept reading because that was the next thing about the bears, but I just started riffing. But without going into detail, the developer said Ghost of Yotei was a story of underdog vengeance that followed Atsu as she moves through the natural landscape, including sprawling grasslands and snowy tundras. They said players would have greater control over her story than in the previous game. So there were small moments where you can make story decisions in Ghost of Tsushima, usually surrounding the being an honorable samurai or like a dishonorable ghost. And of course, Sucker Punch is known for being the pioneer in the karma system with Infamous, which involves you can either be a good person or a bad person in those games. You could be a superhero or a supervillain. So maybe they'll be able to evolve that system in this game and have it be critical to the story and incorporate more kind of player choice and in an evolved version of the karma system, which Red Dead Redemption 2 also does that. And we've talked about it before, samurai movies were inspired by westerns, and then westerns were inspired by samurai movies, and the inspiration goes round and round, and it's even here with this game, with the cowboy game and the samurai game. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. I'm ready. I want it now.
Real.
Because right now, I saw a trailer for Life is Strange, and I was like, oh yeah, that comes out at the end of this month. Because I need some new games.
Yeah.
I'm tired of all the games I'm currently playing. Well, I got to finish Astropod. I'm not tired of that yet, but I need some new games in my life. But yeah, that's all I got. If you don't have anything for video games.
Nope.
Cool. Well, I'm Dijon, and you can find my ad above me and Aiara's ad above them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.
See ya.